Hey guys, it's me, Dr. Katz again. I wanted to talk to you about physician burnout. So, being a good doctor has been especially tough lately. It seems like there's so many obstacles to being able to provide quality care without completely sacrificing your own mental and physical health, even. Fortunately for me, I consider myself to be very strong of mind and body, and my love for my patients and my job far outweighs the negative impacts. And I am very grateful for that. But not everybody's so lucky. You ask yourself, what kind of obstacles could doctors have, right? Don't they have it made? Don't they just make a ton of money off the rest of us and live these amazing, extravagant lives? Don't they just get to direct us like sheep with all their prescriptions and recommendations and procedures? You know, well, I hate to burst your bubble, but it's not like that at all, at least not for me. Did you know that the rate of physician burnout is set to hit an all-time high this year? I'm not surprised by that. The final numbers aren't in yet, but it doesn't look good. On top of that, OBGYN as a specialty has the fourth highest rate of burnout. About 46% of OBGYNs report feeling burnout. So what is burnout, right? So physician burnout is classified as a psychological syndrome that is a prolonged response to chronic occupational stressors. What? Let me put this in something that's understandable. It means the stresses of the job potentially get so overwhelming and so stressful that you kind of break down and you don't want to do it anymore. Yikes. Right? Sounds awful. Anything with the word burn in it can't be good, right? So, what are the symptoms? Feeling tired and drained all the time is one of them. Fatigue that doesn't budge no matter how much you sleep. Feeling sick all the time. Changes in appetite or sleeping habits. Drop in libido or sexual desire, frequent back pain, muscle aches, headaches, no other apparent cause. Sounds like physician fibromyalgia and burnout all in one. But so, what do physicians have to be so stressed out, you ask? Well, there are a ton of potential stressors. Let's talk about them. Let's start off with the fact that your incredibly high medical school loans, offset by the lower average salaries for most physicians, means that your debt is not paid off till you're about 50. Okay? How about the fact that reimbursements for physicians, particularly in my specialty, continue to drop regardless of man hours spent or level of difficulty, to the point that sometimes I find myself wondering if I'm going to be the one paying to do procedures on patients instead of the patients. I'm just being honest. But let's think about the hours for a minute. So for me, a solo practicing OBGYN, I'm essentially on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My ability to do anything with my family completely depends on what's happening with patients. I find myself getting coverage if I have to go to the bathroom in another city, much less if I have to go on vacation. I know that's like extreme, but sometimes I do that. I just can't risk missing a call. Now, for those of you with 9-to-5 jobs, most of you get to be done when you go home. I'm never really done. I'm always responsible for my patients. I'm not complaining. I chose this life. I knew what I was getting into. I knew what I was getting into with my specialty. I'm just clarifying the difference. That's all. Okay? So another stressor is the fact that huge breakdown in the concept of the doctor-patient team relationship. Patients are now consumers rather than patients. And as such, this wave of consumer-oriented thinking has brought a wave of bossy, entitled, demanding behavior that's kind of hard to stomach. I am very fortunate that I do not have a lot of these patients, but when I do, it's exhausting, man. I've spent too much time invested in my education, and I've worked too hard and too long to have patients shake their finger at me dictating their own care without listening, as if I'm like their secretary or sales rep rather than their doctor. It's not right, okay? I'm not saying I need to just completely tell them what to do. I want their input, but not that way. One of the biggest stressors is the fact that doctors, even with all their medical knowledge, do not really have the final say in what they can recommend for patients. The insurance companies do. The expenses do. The patient's ability to pay does. I cannot tell you how many thousands of times in the last 25 years that I've had to change the optimum management, prescription, or procedure, etc. for a patient because of insurance and cost. Most of the time, my poor patients have to go through multiple treatment failures, medication side effects, extra office visits, etc., before I'm allowed to finally do the right thing for them because of some insurance criteria. To make it worse, most of them don't understand that I'm not the one dictating these delays. They're under the impression that I'm just nickel and diming them. And nothing could be further from the truth, but yet I bear the brunt of their frustration and mine all the same. Last but not least, let's talk a second about COVID. Hello! Talk about a stressor. Now we got to worry about exposure like the rest of the world. We can't hug our patients or hold their hands or comfort them in any way except with words, which just isn't enough depending on what's going on. If you thought insurance companies were bad about dictating care, they got nothing on COVID. We're being told when we can do procedures. I didn't operate for months. We're being told what care is essential and what care isn't. And apparently vaginas fell in the isn't category for a while, which was super frustrating. Unless the baby was coming out of one, then that was essential. Our businesses are shut down. Employees are sent home because there are not enough patients to keep them. Employees are afraid to come to work even when we have enough patients. I mean, we're told to do virtual consults instead of bringing people in the office. So how exactly are you supposed to do that with an OBGYN patient? So I tell them to just hold their vagina up to the camera, perhaps? I mean, generalization and conformity is completely ruling over sense and applicability. Completely. Even now, when we're allowed to see patients, fear keeps most of them at home anyway, which totally cripples my ability to care for them the right way. I can say 100 times that it's never been safer to go to the office with all the precautions and the pre-screening, but I can't force them to come. And so I can't know what's going on. I mean, long story short, physician burnout is a real thing. It affects nearly half of physicians in a lot of different specialties, and OBGYN is no exception. I just want everyone to keep in mind that we doctors, we get that you're all struggling right now. I just want you to realize that we're right there with you. Okay? Let's chew on that for a second and have a great day.